Sipping Paint, and I'm here, Hattie Shorts at the Waterford, and we want to thank Ken Craig for his expertise in videoing this, and to Leanie for making the supplies available. So the hello was to come right after a noise that he made, so he clapped his hands, and then there's a hello and welcome. Alrighty. Some of you are watching on the in-house TV, and I think Leanie plays that a couple of times. Some of you have recorded that, and then have been able to go back and look at it again, because this goes pretty fast, and if you're trying to keep up, you may not, so being able to go back is a good idea. The other good idea is that Ken Craig has put this on a YouTube. Now, YouTube is easy to get to. Just type in YouTube in your browser, and then there's a little magnifying glass up there. Click on that, and then type in Ken Craig 603, and you'll get all his videos. You can pick this one and look at it at your leisure. All right. Now, the supplies are ready. We have supplies that Leanie made available to you, and I have arranged them by color in my little box. And you need to have a canvas, and this is the paper that she has provided, and I taped it to a brown bag for the easel. Not perfect, but it makes it a little bit easier to handle. All right, I'm going over the supplies, and someone asked me to make sure I did that, so that's what I'm doing. Which reminds me, I appreciate the suggestions that I get from you artists. One was don't wear a hat when you get videoed, and two, make sure you show the paper that you're painting on in the right direction. And another one was to make a list of supplies. So I've tried to do that. We have the canvas, we have the palette, a paper bag for your easels, our paints, all the brushes that came with the paints, that's good. Paper towels, water, pencil. Now I put it over here that I've like a ruler, in which I know I brought it, but I don't see it. Oh, here's the ruler. Not essential, but a straight edge is nice to have. Scissors, a hair dryer if you're in a hurry to get it dry. And some people are messy like I am, and so often I wear gloves. I'll go over that. I'll put that. I've printed that up so you can see the supplies. Today, we are going green, since it's the month with St. Patrick's Day in it. The color green is a secondary color on the color wheel, and it's made from blue and yellow. That's a green. You can also make green from lots of other ways, like turquoise and yellow. And I just found this picture in the magazine, and it just, to me, here are the really dark greens and the really yellow greens, and it may put it in perspective for me about how many different shades of green there are. Okay. Today we're going to do, since it's St. Patrick's Day, we're going to paint a leprechaun's hat. I forgot to introduce Maxwell. This is Maxwell, who's now in my face, and I'm going to put him down on the floor and tell him please to stay there, right there. That's Maxwell, my ever-present companion. All right, this is the picture that we're doing today. It's a leprechaun's hat. And I'm going to show you a couple ways that we're going to do it. Now, first if you want to, and not worried about how you're doing, you can sketch it right on your paper, right on your canvas. I'm not a very good drawer. I'm a better painter than I am drawer. So what I did was sketch it first on a piece of blank paper. I'm not telling you to do this. If you feel confident and want to draw it right on this paper, go right ahead. It may be much, remember it's a leprechaun's hat, so if it's a little wonky, that's okay, because leprechauns are a little wonky. All right, here's what I did. I started with the big brim, and I just made a big oval. And notice I'm just trying to get a nice oval shape here. Now, I didn't want the hat to sit straight, so I wanted it a little bit at an angle, so I used this ruler just to show that was sort of the angle that I wanted it to be. Now, here's the brim that I drew. And the top of the hat is slightly smaller, but it has the same shape. Now, you could stop right now, and I'm going to make two dots here. Let me see they're about an inch, a little bit less than an inch. And you can connect that dot with the edge of your top circle. And keeping this flow in mind, now you have a hat. So you want to get rid of all these lines. And the hat has a band. Notice that this curve, and this curve are all related. Now, if you want to, you could just cut out this drawing, put it on top of your canvas, trace around it, and that would work. And I might just do that, but I want to show you another step that I took, because I like things to look a little balanced. So I took that straight line that I drew right through everything, and a pair of scissors, and I cut out this big oval brim. And then I looked at it. I forgot to go all the way over. All right, now I have an oval brim that I can put on here and trace around. That's just what I like to do. It's not anything you have to do. Now, when I look at this, my straight edge is a little off. That's fine. I'm going to just make a new straight edge. You know, you can take this a step further if you want to. Fold it again. And now you have quarters. If you want it perfectly symmetrical, then I don't want to confuse you with it, but this is how I did it. Then you can cut that out. And now I have a brim that I'm more satisfied with, and I put that right on there, and I'm going to draw right around there. Do you have to do it this way? No, I'm just showing you how I did it. And it's okay if it looks wonky, because we already ascertained that this is a leprechaun. But that's the brim. Now I need the top. And what I did for the top, I just went back to this piece that I folded, and I just cut a smaller, using that same kind of outside cutting edge. I made the top. Alrighty, I'm going to trace around. I'm going to go back to this middle line, which I've lost. And the reason I want a middle line is because I want the top hat to look like, the top of the hat to be in line. I'm going to put this center line right on that line, and there's my top of my hat. And I'm going to go around here. Now, of course, when we paint this line won't show. All right, now we're going to connect. You don't want it down here, and you don't want it in the middle. You want it a little up. Try to make a little dot on both sides, about the same distance apart, and then connect those two spots. All right, that's one way. And if you don't like it, I'm not wild about this, so I'm going to just close this up a little bit. It looks better. And now we're going to have a band around that goes around here. Now we're ready to paint. Okay, we have scraps here to get rid of. Or many of you may have gone right to your canvas and painted or drawn your hat. Fine. You have a hat, and we're ready to paint. So the first thing I did was, these are the little palettes. I've been using these instead of a big paper plate. I've been saving these from the dining room. And these have worked really well for me. So I'm going to squeeze out some greens. I don't like that emerald at all. It doesn't look like St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to use these two. This is hooker green, which is a good dark green. Now notice you only need a tad of this, not a lot. And then here's a more Kelly green. And I'm going to start with that. I'm going to wet my brush. Here's my towel. And I'm going to go with this lighter color. And I'm making kind of a wash. And I'm going to just paint the hat. I'm using a little bit of a wider brush, and I shouldn't have painted that band. What you do is fine. There is really no rules to this, and you are the artist, and if you're doing it, it's good. And who is to say what's good and what isn't in this age? I just want to cover this. Now, if we were in our art room, I would be using something other than water to thin my paints, but this will work. Main thing is I'm getting green all over to start with. And it's pretty wet. Another thing that you can do, if it dries out too fast, maybe you can use your spray. If you're not ironing, you can just spray it, and if it's dry, it'll loosen it right up. Acrylics are paints that are water soluble, unlike oil paints. And so water works really well. Now, I've gotten my hat almost covered. It'd be nice to have a bigger brush. Anyway, maybe another time we'll order bigger brushes. Mimi has been very good about getting our supplies. Now I have a green leprechaun's hat. It has a brim, where I'm working right now. It has a body, and it has a top. Whew. Now, in order to make things round, and we've done this a lot, you have to have a dark on one side at least. So first think about where the light is coming from. Now, my light is coming from here. So that means this side of my hat is going to be lighter, and I'm going to use yellow. You can also use white, a little bit of white here. So, see how nice these little lids have worked for palette? Now, this is the light side. This is where the light is coming from. So I'm going to take some yellow and I'm going to go right over that to make it look like the light is coming from this side. And I might put a little white in there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the top of the hat. And with the bottom. This is where the light is coming from. Now I'm painting the light side, and the hat basically in the middle is green, and we're going to blend it over to a darker green, and this is the hooker green. That's a nice dark green. It's going to be dark on this side too because the light's coming this way, and it's going to be darker over here. And in doing this, we get the feeling that this hat body is round. It's not a flat surface, it's a round one. And now, so far we've just used 3 different hues. We used green, we used yellow, and some white. Now, what you need to do, or can do, is go back to your regular green that you were using in the beginning. And I've misplaced that.
Right there.
Where is it? Oh, good, Ken is #1 guy here. If we didn't have Ken, we wouldn't have sip and paint during this year. All right. I'm going to load up my brush a little bit, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to try to blend this green and this yellow, light green, so that it's hat-like. Now, is this perfect? No. But is it what I'm doing today? Yes. Am I having fun? Absolutely. When you stop having fun, I feel like I have failed, because I want it to be fun for everybody. Notice I'm just mixing, I'm just using green and yellow and white. And I need to get down here and dry that a little bit so I can just put a little more water in here and try to mix it up, because notice how fast that dries. Is it looking hat-like? Not quite. I'm going to wipe off some of this right around here where the band goes. Another thing that you can do to make the dark look darker is to use a little bit of blue. Just a dab, just a dab. Maxwell, sit down. And I don't want it to look like a stripe, so I'm just going to blend it. The brushes help you to blend stuff. Now, we want to remember the band. I want to start a new palette. And I used orange. You have to use orange? Can you use purple? Yep, whatever color you want. I'm going to use orange. And since I forgot to leave it, which I should have done, I'm going to have to paint over this green. Notice this curved line replicates the curve of the brim and of the top. So I can always come back and make this look a little bit better. But basically I have an orange band which curves around the hat, curves around the bottom. Now, we know that to make it look like it's round, it has to be darker on one side than the other. Dark on one side, light on the other. So I'm going to take a little bit of brown, and I'm going to dab this and make this side a little bit darker. And I'm going to make the other side, and I'm trying to blend that in, use a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, and this is the light side. So you have a light side and a dark side and an orange middle. When this dries, we'll go back and put a buckle in. All right, what you need to do is stop and look at what you're doing and see how it's going. Well, I see a lot of brush strokes, which I want to get rid of, but I can't hold this up, right? Where do I face it? Okay, this is how far I've gotten. Now you have to remember that I'm doing this under pressure because I have a camera on me and I have responsibility to make this turn out. What we have is a dark side and a light side. Now we're going to put the background in. Now I like a painterly background. You could have gone back and put in the background first and then drawn your hat. Lots of different ways, but I like to do it this way. So I'm going to mix up a dark color. I'm using blue and green. And with this dark color, Leanie, we really do need a wider brush. Oh, here's a bumper. Here we go. Good. Here's a wider one. And you paint the background dark beside the light. Dark beside the light. Now I'm doing the dark. And down here too, where the light is, dark beside the light. When I say painterly, this is what I mean, is that you can sort of paint it. Now this is green, so I want to use this green. I have the blue. This is that hooker green. It has a sort of an olive cast to it. And I'm going to just spread it out. I feel like there should be music playing.
It's next Tuesday night when the fiddler's here.
I like putting out a little bit of paint at a time, and then if I need more, go back. All right, I have put in my background. Is it perfect? No. Is it okay? Yes. And why is that? It's because I am the artist, and I'm saying it's okay. And that's what you should do. You don't have to measure up to anything other than what you... Now, we had the dark to the light. Now, I'm going to wash my brush out. Now, we use water because to clean our brushes because it's water-based paint. And at the end, when you go to clean your brushes, use the water and Dove, not Dove shampoo, Dove, what cleans grease? Is it Dove? What cleans grease? Dove? What kind of, the soap, the dish.
Glycerin, you name it.
The dish soap that mechanics use to clean grease off there. And I thought it was Dove, but it may not. Anyway, clean your brushes with that. Good. And make sure they're nice and clean. Now, this is the dark side of the hat.
So I'm going to use light next to the dark. That's easy to remember. Need some more yellow. It's coming along. Yellow and the green, yellow, green, whoops. This is easy. All you have to remember is your lights go right next to the darks, and the darks go next to the lights. It's coming. Maybe a little more white. Now the other thing that, as when you're doing painterly, you want to blend in your colors. You don't want it to look like you measured off dark on one side and light on the other. You're going to sort of blend that in. And that worked pretty well. Basically, this hat is about finished. Now, my band is not dry. So what I could do is find this handy dandy hair dryer. And if you can figure out how the little things go. So how does it look right now? I'm just going to put my hair dryer on here, and it'll dry that up pretty fast. It's just something you have to have. No, you could just wait a little bit till it dries, or you could not have used so much paint to make it in the first place. A hair dryer is very handy to have. Now I'm ready. I'm going to put a tad of black on here. Black is a great color, but you don't want to use too much of it. And I might pick out a smaller brush to do this. How are we doing on time, Ken?
28 minutes.
Huh?
28 minutes.
We have 30, right?
Yeah, or
Okay.
more.
All right, now I'm just going to put a buckle. I'm going to put it on the dry side. I'm not sure what a buckle, that kind of hat buckle looks like. I'm sort of giving the illusion of a buckle and a little bit of light on the light side and a little bit of dark on the dark side. Does that look like a perfect buckle? No. Does it kind of remind me of a buckle? Yes. Is that okay? Yes. Now, another thing that I like to do is where that band is, I'm going to take a dark and I'm just going to go around there to make sure it's sitting. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Take a dark and go around the bottom so that band looks like it's really sitting on the hat. Now we're almost finished here. So what I would suggest is holding it up and looking at it. Oh my, okay. I see a number of things that I want to fix. So I'm going to go back, clean out my brush, and go over here and get me some white and even this up a little bit. And I want to go up here to the top and sort of identify this circle a little bit better. Ken, we could do this, I could be here for another hour and keep working on this hat. But but I want to show that you can finish it in a half hour. But if I would spend, on this model, I spent more time than that. Here's the dark. The crux of this lesson is, though, your dark paints go against the lights. First you decide where the light is coming from. From whence cometh the light? And then, well, actually, I could work on this some more, but at least it looks like a hat. And what I'm going to do, and you don't have to do it, and I'm going to put a shamrock in here, and I'm going to just draw it like that with my brush, just put a stem. Now a shamrock, you might want to practice with a pencil first on your scrap paper. A shamrock to draw is easy. Make a heart like Valentine's Day, then make another heart, and then another heart, and you have a shamrock. And since I'm not drawing it, I'm going to just do it with a brush with, who knows? I think since it's going to the dark side, I need to have my yellow back, because it'll be, oh, look, I actually made that mistake. Now, sometimes mistakes are good. I went so fast, I made a buckle on my, I made a line on my, from my buckle. All right. So, like a heart here. I think you'd do better if you draw this in instead of just trying to do it like this. There's one heart. Now I'm going to do a heart over here. And then a heart over here. And I have a quasi shamrock. I might want to go back and put a little light on this side, a little light on that side. And I want to highlight the stem. Now I want to show you something else on mine, on this one. I painted this without drawing it in, and I made a huge mistake. This turned out to look like a mushroom instead of a shamrock. So I let it dry, and then I went back over and tried to correct that mistake. And I brought this so you could really see that you can correct when it dries with another color and with another layer, and you might have to let that dry and do it again. But this was a correction. But I think it looks all right. And I kept practicing with shamrocks instead of just stopping. Knowing when to stop is key to painting. And I'm going to put a little green here, and then I'm going to stop this one. And then I'm going to look back at my notes and see if there's anything else I need to say to you. All right, I demonstrated that, and now I'm going to go here. This is the darks and the lights. The background, we did that. The whole point is having the hat become the focal point. I think if I were going to do this again, I'd make this light even a little more light. You need to stand back and look at your painting. Make your corrections as I did, and enjoy it, and appreciate the fact that you're able to take paint and canvas and a brush and create something. Sign your name as part of the painting. And please don't use initials. I have no idea what your initials are. And I am just going to go down here. You could do it with a marker, and I brought a marker, but I don't see it. I'm just going to put Hattie right here with a brush. I also, with some of my pictures, paintings, put the year. That's pretty nice to do that because it's sort of a memory. And I start about creating mistakes, fixing mistakes. Ken, where's my green palette? Here it is. I don't like that orange in there, so I'm just going to go back and goodbye, orange. Okay. I think I'm finished for today. One leprechaun hat. One sip and paint. 1 half hour, that's great fun. Leanie said we might be going back to class sometime soon, maybe in a couple months. That'll be fine. I really have enjoyed the YouTube. I've enjoyed Ken here quietly pointing out where I leave things around. He's very good. We need to thank him, and Waterford needs to appreciate his expertise in many areas. Thank you for watching. Hang your pictures on the doorknob of Villa 8 or give it to Laura at the concierge desk. Thank you, and happy St. Patrick's Day.